Round two. Okay, let's go. Chat, sorry about that. Basically, I'm realizing like if I don't restart my computer after a couple updates, it's not. You get a lot of crackles in your mic, and so it's not necessarily the mic, which is a good thing, right? That means we have somewhat of a working mic, but you just have the mic, which is a good thing, right? Okay, we're working. We're cooking, chat. Okay, so welcome everybody. Hope you're having an awesome day. Happy Tuesday. Excuse me. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on some kind of like blocking and tackling items that we have been cooking up for HostFabric, and basically, sorry, gotta move around the Zen every now and then. You know, you gotta like keep the quadrants of your mouth the same. But yeah, basically we're cooking with a new version of Node.js, and I'll show you what that looks like. There's probably going to be a bunch of bugs that we get to solve for with that, but we will walk through that together, and I'll show you how to minimize the amount of pain. But I also wanted to just show you, so I restarted the computer just before the stream and basically wanted to walk through how I put everything together in the first place and what that looks like. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of that today as well to hopefully up our game on how we do so. So I will say we have, as of last night, the speech to text mostly working, which is huge, right? That means we can have conversations throughout the day with our 4 friends here. That will be loaded in a second when I start the node server. So I'll show you how to do all that. And yeah, we're just going to jump into it. So let's do that. And let's get at it. So usually when I restart cursor, right? Let me just get from the beginning here. So what I like to do is throw in a terminal at the bottom here, and delete these. And so then I have, you know, a spot for all of the CLI items, right? Like Cloud Code, Codex, and the node server. So what I do is I say split terminal twice, and then I don't know why, but it's just habit. Sometimes PowerShell gets a little wonky. I'm not sure why, but and I know it's best practices to use WSL on Windows. I still haven't. Maybe that'll be a project for later this week that we can just dig in and to show you how to do that more effectively. But as of today, we're just going to be trucking here. So on the left, I already have Codex installed. So, and there's not a great spot for this, so I'll move it over here for now. And you'll notice that we don't see our friends here because currently I'm pointing the HostFabric source at localhost. So you'll see them pop up once we start our node server over here. But that said, on my far left, I usually throw in Codex. And then I do /approvals for YOLO mode, which is full access, which basically means like it doesn't bug you every time it makes a change or update or, you know, searches for something, and it just makes the workflow, especially if you're just in true creation mode. Like I would maybe not do that if I'm in production. I mean, I would do it if I was in production, but you know, for the purposes of this, it's just easier to let it rock that way. And then the middle one, I call it our middle child, Claude. And then I do dangerously skip permissions, which is basically what you have to say to get in YOLO mode for Claude. Like there's no /approvals per se, right? You just have to add that. Dangerously skip permissions, which sounds scarier than it is. It basically just means that it can do the same thing. So on the right one here, I'm going to do an npm run dev. which basically starts up our local server. And now we should see our buddy pop up here once we do a refresh on our cache. So I'm going to do that. And there we go. All 4 buddies. Let's go. So chat, this is like my home, right? This is where I live in Codex for stuff, usually like larger, big features along the way. Claude Code for similar, like it's pretty powerful, right? And higher context windows. So, by the way, chat, yesterday, I swear to God, Codex, I told it to do like test our end-to-end features for just like our holistic test, right? Like smoke test everything, do everything that we have for our testing, create a true end-to-end test for all our different features. It spent 2 hours and 15 minutes going through it and building it, and just, it was magic, chat. It was the longest running agentic workflow that I think I've ever seen. So that's pretty cool. And it got it right. Like that's the crazier piece, is like it did it really well. It was basically just trucking along. You know, I gave it some feedback here and there, and it just kept running with it. When the context was gone, it was able to just, you know, compact the stuff it was working through, and just it still ran with it. So it was really cool. And on the right here, I usually use, you know, Cursor for like one-off things. Grok Code is currently free, so Grok Code is crazy fast for like you know, linter bugs or like other issues that you see along the way with that. Ooh, I just noticed we have Gemini 3 Pro, so we're gonna test that today too, chat. 1 million context window, chat. Holy shit. That's the biggest so look at all these. So context window basically means how much stuff can you feed it before it stops, or how much like stuff can you feed a model before it will like get at its capacity that it's able to understand what it's seeing, right? And so you see here Composer, which is Cursor's agentic working model. It has 200K context window. So 200,000 tokens. A token, chat, by the way, let's throw this up here. It's a different personal access token. Let's close that. Been burned by that yesterday. But basically, tokens, LLMs. So a token is a piece of text, right? It's just like a chunk of text. So it doesn't necessarily match a specific word all the time. It can, but just think of it like this is how it breaks it into how it communicates with the LLM, right? So you can see here that this sentence has 36 tokens and 182 like unique characters in here, right? So when we say a context window of 1 million, that means it can process this, whatever 1 million divided by 36 is. Let's check. 1 million divided by 36. So it can take 27,000 separate messages like this and still understand what it's working with, right? No, it's not always, all tokens aren't created equally in a way, because sometimes depending on where it hits that token, like it's really good at the start, it's not so great at the middle usually, and it's at the end, it gets a little better too sometimes. And I think that's kind of like humans, right? Like we have a recency bias, we have a whatever the other bias, like first and last, right? And we kind of forget the shit in the middle. So it's the same thing with models. But the fact that it can do 1 million is insane, chat. I guess 4.5 is 1 million too, so. But its cost is 2x when the input exceeds 200K, which is, that's why Anthropic is literally like 10x higher than any other model for costing. And like for our costs, it's the same thing. So that's one of the downfalls. They're really good. And they, like, even if you saw the Gemini 3 evals today, Sonnet 4.5 still has the crown for some of the coding things. But that's not everything. Like, part of it is like the smarts behind it. So like, as the model, and Sam said this a while ago, right? Sam Altman was like, as the models get smarter, like everything about it gets smarter, right? So even if it can process twice the amount of tokens, if there's a way to get to the answer with only needing to use half the tokens, the model, if it's smart enough, right, will do the bug fix or whatever it is to get to that endpoint without having to use up all those tokens in the first place. So that's the cool thing about all these. In chat, like, we are living in a crazy time of how good all this is getting. But all that to be said, I use Grok code for a lot of those things. The only downfall with Grok at the moment is it doesn't do images. So if you take a screenshot of something and paste it in here, it can't interpret the images currently. So that's one of the limitations, but other than that, it's crazy fast. Okay, so what did we do since yesterday? You can see here again, chat, I know I gotta push these updates more often, but you just get moving and it's just fun, right? So I updated our Node engine. So Node is like a package manager / server here. Well, NPM is the package manager. But I wanted to make sure that we're on the latest and greatest version of that. I added a bunch of integration testing just to make sure that it plays nice in the sandbox with the other things that we're cooking up. I updated some of our dependencies here. So these are the, think of these like little like Lego sets that you can add to your project that give you a ton of functionality out of the box, right? Instead of having to code our own roll your own version of this for Anthropic, we can use that. And you'll notice that we have 2 Anthropic package manager items in here. So maybe we should actually think about getting rid of one of them, but that's a different topic. We updated our AI package, which is Vercel's kind of default version of that. And yeah, again, so if you see an item in here, this is our package our version control, which we use GitHub to do that. So if you see the stuff on the left, right, the red means that this is what it deleted from that file, and this is what it added to it, or the green is what it added to it, rather. And we can scroll down in here and see we updated our node server to 24, which is ballsy because it might crash out on Vercel, but we shall see, chat. But all that to be said, I think we should be in a better position to handle what we're cooking up here. So, yeah, that's kind of the start of it today. And as you can see from yesterday, here's our to-dos that we have cooking for today. We're going to check through Google their talk-to-speech costs for the different ones, just to make sure that the homies here can get or the most bang for our buck version of that. So I'm going to open up our localhost here, which shows our website on our computer, and that's through this down here through our npm run dev. So when we ran that, you can see here, these are the kind of server logs, if you will. And so this is what it looks like on the website. And by the way, if anybody doesn't know or hasn't been a part of this kind of journey to get to this place, the inception of all this, by the way, was I wanted to do a podcast called MONDAI, right? And I tested out a bunch of different AI kind of co-host features. The main one was through Streamlabs here. Streamlabs is a software that I use to stream to you guys, right? So we have 27 people hanging out. Thank you everybody for doing so. Appreciate you. But they have one called the Intelligent Streaming Agent, which is this dude down here, right? Basically, you know, you can put it on your overlay thing here, which is what you see here. So this, you know, as you can, sure you're seeing this move across the screen as I do this, right? So these are the things that like you show the world as you start streaming. And if we're going to stream a podcast, like I wanted the ability to have this here for a co-host to do that. Where was that? Okay. But this version just wasn't up to snuff. So basically this dude, cool hoodie, but for all the other reasons, like it was just, it only brought like the information about like the streaming stuff, right? Like what's happening in the stream. And I wanted it to have conversations about, you know, AI topics. And it just was always bring it back to like the stream based stuff, which is not great, right? So in order to basically find that functionality, oh God, did this break again? There's a bug with Streamlabs that, fuck. Okay, well, chat, this is going to be on this screen today, I guess, which sucks because then I can't see my other stuff, but damn it. Anyway, I wanted to have them have like actual conversations. So basically created, vibe coded this thing called HostFabric. ChatGPT came up with the name, by the way. There was like 10 other ones and they all kind of sucked, but this one sucked the least. So that's why we're going with that one. And then created a way to just do, you know, all of these separate co-hosts, if you will, through the different models that they represent. So ChatGPT uses the ChatGPT API and model. Claude uses the Anthropic model. Gemini does Gemini, and Grok does Grok. So we can change these on the fly. So you can see here, if we open this up and update this to, that disappeared, that's a bug, we'll fix that. But you can swap out your kind of look and feel based on which ones you select here. I added 2 new ones, by the way, just to make this a little bit more complete looking. But basically that's what we're doing. And then now we have a speech to text version, so you can talk to the models on the fly. You can also just send them a message through this. And yeah, I've been kind of trucking with it, and I just thought like, hey, if this is a problem for me, it's probably a problem for more people. So that is what we're cooking with, chat. I'm gonna bring these back. I don't know if I like the emoji on there. Well, that was I asked for some whimsy, and that's what it gave us, chat. So we'll see if it's actual whimsy enough. I want to test these new ones that are created today, just to see if they actually work on the stream. So first test of the stream, chat. You ready for this? You ready for it to break? I just assume now that things are going to break before I try it, but let's see how it goes. Hey everybody, how's it going today? Love that. Okay, that is a bug, chat. We will fix that.
Hey everyone, looks like the transcription's taking a nap on us. No worries, we'll keep the vibes rolling without it.
Hey everyone, so good to be here with you all. Heads up, the transcription's unavailable, so I missed that. Could you repeat or paste the prompt real quick? I'll jump in as soon as I get it.
Hey, looks like we're having some tech issues with the transcription. No worries though, we can keep rolling. What were we just talking about?
Thanks guys, appreciate that. And this damn thing. So I'm just gonna have to minimize that, chat. If you see me going back and forth on that now, just yell, and we'll get that figured out. We have this working now. This was broken last night. It now actually pulls the messages of how many are used. I got to figure out the polling, like how often it does it, but as of now, it's working and feeling good about that. We also updated the voices, or the voice options rather, for these. So these now save to the database per user, which is good. So we can throw in some even sexier voices.
Our
Like
distrust is very expensive.
exactly, Adam. Exactly.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
100%.
As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Solidarity fist. So if we select one of these voices, it'll save now, and now they can have even sexier sounding voices. I'm still working on how to. There's a new version. I think it's called Journey that Google has that I was testing, but we'll get that tested later today too. It was working in prod, so hopefully we'll be able to get that working. But let's send another message just to make sure that those are ready to go. Let's just do one of these as a quick and dirty version.
Microtransactions are the devil's playground in gaming. They turn fun experiences into cash grabs that prey on our FOMO. If
Preach.
devs focused on fair pricing up front, we'd have way less rage quitting over paywalls.
Hot take. Microtransactions themselves aren't the villain. Cosmetics and optional DLC can be fine. But once monetization is tied to core progression or gambling-style loops, it corrupts design and burns player trust faster than any buzzword marketing can fix.
100%.
Hey ChatGPT, we're talking microtransactions. My hottest take is if you pay full price.
Chat,
for
they're
a
talking
game,
to each other.
There should be absolutely no microtransactions. Full stop. Cosmetics in F2P are one thing, but otherwise, hard pass. Okay, hot take. Cosmetic-only microtransactions are actually fine, but the moment they start affecting gameplay or you're grinding for weeks to avoid spending,
Grok already said that.
that's when it gets predatory and kills the fun.
Chat, oh my god. Okay, they're cooking. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean they're legit talking to each other. That's the first time I've seen that, chat. That's pretty cool. So let's go, we'll change our avatars back. So that one looked good. Let's test the circuit one. This is a new one as of today as well. Just to see how they look here. I'm gonna pull up the actual stream too, just to see what it looks like on the stream itself. How do I do that? Okay, so we got him in there. That's cool. Thanks, Serena. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Guys, Serena has been one of the OG supporters of this the whole time, so he's such a good dude. Go give him some love. He hosts some awesome spaces and podcasts, and really, really cool dude. And honestly, you guys have been so supportive. Josh, you've been great too. Simon. Excuse me. Apparently, talking for 13 hours straight yesterday. My voice is a little wonky, but Sharon, so many other great people have been super supporters of this, and I'm really, really grateful for all of you, truly. Yeah, so let's try one more chat, or not chat question, because chat, that's one thing we got to fix up today, chat, is getting, basically you will be able to send a message directly from the audience to the AI co-hosts themselves. So you can do like, type a question to them, and you will be able to hopefully get them to respond to that. So that'll be cool. But
Right,
let's see.
folks, if this is a presidential election on pineapple pizza, I'm casting my vote for yes. It's a bold, tropical twist that shakes up the boring old tomato and cheese routine.
What?
Who needs tradition when you can have sweet, savory perfection that unites the masses?
Tonight's
Fair.
presidential showdown. Team Pineapple touts freedom of flavor, sweet and savory diplomacy, and economic growth for tropical toppings. while Team No Pineapple defends culinary tradition.
Okay,
The
so that's a bug,
sanctity of
chat. We'll have to
cheese
figure out why
and the
it's
strict
underwater.
anti-food on pizza platform. Cast your vote with a slice. Are your taste buds swinging for bold innovation or staying loyal to crust and tomato conservatism?
Okay, from microtransactions to culinary crimes. Pineapple on pizza? Absolutely not. It's a sweet, tangy abomination that ruins the savory perfection of pizza. A hard no from me, always. Okay.
Fair
I'm
take,
running on the
Gemini. Fair
Pineapple
take.
platform, and let me tell you, this is about choice and freedom. If you don't like it, don't order it, but don't gatekeep what goes on someone else's pizza.
You know what?
That's pizza tyranny. and I
Solidarity
won't
fist
stand
again,
for it.
brother. Preach. All right, chat. Well, again, mostly working. You love to see it. Yeah, let's jump into the fixes. So, first things first, I'm a little bit worried that now that we've done all these node changes, that we got to make sure that everything is working well for all of that. So let's do that we'll throw it to Codex and say, we recently updated our node engine to 24. Make sure, actually, this is a question I have. So our types.node is 24. Node engine, period. Our types node is 24, but our engine is 22 plus, or greater than 22, less than 23. Our engines are will this break our functionality? And I know there's like a long-term version, like an LTS version, that is, I think 22 or 24. I'm not sure, but basically I want to harmonize both of those together to make sure that we are on the good. So the other thing you can do is do the @ symbol and then say what the name of the file is that you want them to look at. So I'm going to say @package.json review to make sure we are harmonized. And it will start cooking on that and give us a response. In the meantime, we can set our other homie here, Claude Code, on a different task that we have. So notice that the TTS, or this STT, which is speech to text, TTS is text to speech, STT is speech to text, that we have through this little widget down here, is currently broken. So hello, can you guys hear this? Oh my god, chat.
Hey, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
What's on your mind? Jumping into the pineapple pizza debate or something fresh?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Welcome to the chaos. We're just coming off a heated pineapple pizza debate, so fair warning, things are spicy in here.
Loud
I
and
love
clear
it so
on my
much.
end.
Yep, loud and clear on our end.
Okay, I'm going to say the
Transcriptions still napping, but we can hear you.
voices are coming
What's
through
up?
on speech to text, or sorry, text to speech for the avatars / models, but it sounds like it's underwater. The first time that they spoke, it sounded perfect, but every time after, underwater. And so, like, your prompts don't have to be perfect, chat. And that's what I want to try to impart on from this is like, just the models are smart enough now to understand what it is. Like, a lot of times, that's just all you need. So the second part of this is like, you can get, you can kind of guide them to the right direction if you, so what I did here is I hit F12 to open up our developer tools, and then I'm going to reload the page to get all of the items coming through. And you can like call out or see specific errors in here, like this one, see how it has the X and it's red. that means that something happened that canceled this. So usually this is where you will see the errors and what it tried to do or try to send, but something happened to block that. So let's actually copy this. I'm going to copy the URL. We'll get Grok working on that. And then we'll copy the headers, which is this thing here, which is basically like the metadata that it sends when it tries to send it. So we're going to copy. Can you copy the headers from here? No, if you can't, just copy the shit. So basically just do this, and then copy it, and then paste it into here. And then it will show that it got canceled in doing so. So we'll see what happened with that. This got canceled, and then typing is hard, chat. On the control page, investigate and resolve surgically. So you can have multiple agents or multiple models working on different things at different times. The only time that I've run into issues with that is like when they're trying to update the same file at the same time. Cursor does a better job at this if you do like, multiple agents here, so you can hit this plus button and kick off a new agent. And it does some things with version controlling where it can tell like if a file is locked or if a file is being edited, then you can kind of use it. It's smarter about that, but since these are in their CLI here, they don't have access to that, or they don't see that as easily. So basically, you got to be a little bit careful, but basically, for the most part, they just put them on different tasks and different files and different functions, and it'll be fine. So let's see what they said about our first couple that we gave them here. So package.json and our nvmrc file, which is this one here, which shows which version of Node that we're using, is 24 TypeScript. Okay, sorry. Package.json restrict the workspace to Node to plus or greater than 23 or less than 23. Yet dependencies, dev dependencies is 24 plus. Explicitly loads node types even though the runtime is node 22. So any newer API that ships only in 24 would compile cleanly but throw at runtime. Nothing. Key hints, by the way, chat, are like if you hover over this or like this, or even start creating things like const, something like this. These are hints, if you will, of like what you want to do or work with. If you're vibe coding, it's not super important just because it's going to do it for you automatically, but you also don't want it to, it's going to throw an error when we compile this, so we don't want that to happen. So pick one direction to harmonize. Stay on node 22, downgrade node types to 22 to the root package, reinstall, and then rerun this. Or move to 24. I think we want to stay on 22. Let's see here. The services audio ingest subpackage pins Docker images to node 22. The service should also migrate its node typings to 22 or 24. Use 22. Harmonize everything. So that's just, we'll keep everything clean. We'll keep everything on one version and then not have to mess around with anything on the 24 side. Because I'm pretty sure Vercel, which is what we use to host this, is currently on version 22 for our long-term version of that. So that should be chill. All right, Codec or Claude, in the meantime, let's bump this up a little bit. Says he's gonna investigate. It says it says it's gonna investigate the underwater audio issue. Sounds like it could be related to audio, context, state management, sample rate mismatches, or audio buffer processing issues. Let me search through the TTS and audio playback code. found a critical issue, chat. Let's go. Audio context has a sample rate of 4800, but DTS audio, usually MP3, comes in at different sample rates, typically those here. When there's a sample rate mismatch, the audio context will resample the audio, and if this happens repeatedly or incorrectly, it can use the underwater sound. Okay, so what did you do to fix it? Solution. We need to let the audio context use the browser's default sample rate instead of forcing it to 4800 Hertz. The browser will automatically match the output device's sample rate, and then the audio will be resampled once incorrectly instead of being resampled at 48 kilohertz. Okay, cool. Makes sense. All right, so let's do this and say, so it's telling us to run npm install, npm run lint, and run test. One thing I've been noticing about Codex recently is that it doesn't remember that it has read-write access to everything, which is weird, right? Like, you can tell it, like, run these, or sorry, you can't Control V paste into the Codex CLI. You have to right-click, because Control V is only for images, like screenshots. You have the power to do this. So the reason and I could just literally run it here, right? Paste it into here and run these, but the reason I do it in here instead is because if it finds an issue, it just automatically knows it, right? If I run this over here myself, then I have to copy paste the same issue that it's going to, run into anyway. But if it does it, then it has the context of what it sees when it runs it, and also will fix the issues that it finds along the way if it has any. So it's just a simpler process to do that. So you can see here that it changed our engine to node 22, which is good, which does not align to that. So I'm going to hit escape and say, why do we still have this? So hopefully it'll consolidate that down. There we go. So now it's at 22 again. And stuff like this, I don't know if it's easy to do if you're vibe coding, but with a little programming, like it's just, you get that. So if I was vibe coding this without any programming experience, I would just say, ensure that all of these are just ask it to double check, basically, like, because that would have probably came up with the same solution as it does as it goes. So it is what it is, chat. Okay, we're still cooking. You love to see it. And all right, so let's get this tested. So we're going to see a bunch of errors for a minute as it does this npm install. Well, okay, so I did the npm install. Npm install basically says, look through this package.json file, and anything that you see in here that you bring in, like all these dependencies, all those little, Lego packages that we talked about earlier, make sure that those are installed in the project. And it does that through this folder here called node.modules. So it'll put everything in here. If you ever run into like a caching issue or something, you can delete this folder and then it will recreate it on the next npm install or whatever package manager you use. I used to use one called pnpm, which is faster than npm, but Vercel plays nicer with npm, so we switched it to that. So let's let it run for a second here, just to make sure it's ready to go. Node 22 harmonization, chat. Root tooling now references the Node 22 surface by downgrading types node to 22. So TS TypeScript diagnostics and IDE hints once again mirror the runtime enforced by those other files. The service audio ingest package mirrors the downgrade, keeping it local, build test, aligned with this Docker image. I installed the dependencies, so the refresh package.log, package lock.json. Package lock.json chat is, think of it kind of like that node node modules folder. It like basically says like we're locking all the versions of these things at whatever is in that package.json file, and it shows like all the sub dependencies that it has for each one of those that it has to install. So this is a massive file, but it just tells the server like, yo, install all this shit. So that's cool. Now we can go back here and do our npm run dev. Kick off our server again. I'm going to hit control and then click on this link to pull up our local version of our server. Go to our dashboard here. By the way, chat, if you have any questions along the way, hit me up, throw them in chat here, and I will try to get them resolved. Sucks that I can't move this over. I have to delete a file. I don't know if I delete that file, if it's going to kill the... Actually, you know what? Let's test it, because that's going to get annoying. So I had asked ChatGPT about this earlier, so let me pull that up and just see if we can't do that quick. Okay, here. This. Okay, so this is what it says to do. Okay, so we're going to go to app data. It was one of these that worked last time. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to open a folder here. And I pasted in basically this text to get to this folder. And it says delete the file windowsstate.json. So chat, if this goes down, it's been real. Appreciate you. Thank you, and I'll be right back, but let's try it. So I'm going to delete this file. Are we still cooking? Still have the issue. Love that. Okay. I don't know, chat. Hopefully that didn't crash the stream. But basically that's usually what works. And stuff like that, like always just ask ChatGPT or Grok or whatever your LLM of choice is, and usually get some pretty good answers from it. Because you saw what those answers were. Like it crawled a bunch of websites, did all the things, gave you an answer that worked last time, but we shall see, chat. Okay, back to this. So what we're going to test is confirm that our voices are working well again. So we can see we have our buddies here, and let's ask it a text-to-speech here, or speech-to-text. Such a pain in the ass. Too many acronyms, chat. I'm going to change this to push-to-talk. Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Alright, let's get this party started. Good to see everyone.
Hey everyone, looks like the transcription's acting up again.
No worries, we'll keep the vibes rolling live. Transcription's down. Could you repeat that last bit or give a quick summary so I can catch viewers up?
Oh, actually, chat, you know what it could be?
Looks like we're missing the transcription. No worries, though. We can keep rolling. What's on your mind?
Okay, it's interesting that some of them work and some don't. And I think what that might be is based on which model we had selected. So I think, I don't remember which was which, but some of them use the 11 Labs version and some of them use that other version. So let's test this again. How about now? We good to go? Kinda.
Awesome. Sounds like we're all synced up now. Let's dive into the fun. What's the first topic on deck?
Yeah, we're good to go. Just gotta use our ears a bit more today. So, what's everyone buzzing about? Great, we're good to go. Chat, drop any questions while we kick things off. I'll keep
Let's
an eye
go,
on
chat.
chats,
Let's go.
transcriptions down.
Yeah, we're solid. Let's just roll with it and keep the energy up. Our viewers are here for us anyway, not the transcription.
Okay, so only Claude was, okay. That worked for most of them. Claude still has an issue, and we can point it to what voice model all of them are using. So we're going to go to voice configuration. Claude is using US English Male. Cool.
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
So it works from that. So I took a screenshot. I'm going to do Alt V into Claude Code and say, this is the voice model that it is using. Debug this. And it could be something in, so if I click this open overlay, like this is just a local version to test this. So I'm going to hit F12 on this. And we'll run another one again just to see if we get any errors coming through. How about now? Is this ready to go? Can you guys hear this okay? Fuck. How about now?
Transcriptions out?
Is it
No
ready to
sweat,
go?
Folks, we've got the live energy to carry us through. What's the hot topic kicking things off? All right, let's do this.
All right, let's do this. I'm hyped. Chat.
Transcriptions out. Notes
Sorry,
all
chat.
set. Mike's hot and the vibes ready. Hit me when you want to
Sorry,
start.
chat. This is going to get annoying for a sec.
Team, let's do this.
Oh, God.
No worries, we've got this. Chat's already jumping in with questions, so
Uh-huh.
let's just vibe with it and see where the energy
Love
takes
that.
us.
Love that. Okay, that's annoying. So it's sending these as MP3s. What's the best way to do this? I'm going to copy these. So it'll copy this stuff. So see how these have like these little drop downs? If you copy your console logs like this and right click paste it into here, which will take a second. And then we're going to also check these. There's not a lot of detail in this, so let's just copy one of them. Copy as fetch. And I'm going to right click again just to paste that in so it'll have the context for what one of these looks like. What I should have done is when Claude was doing that, look for which one it sent in on that, just so it has that. But if it only sees, you know, audio MP3, that's not really helpful. So, still getting some underwater. And so sometimes also, chat, if you keep getting into a same kind of loop of like it just doesn't know how to solve for something, I give it a little more encouragement with like one of these paragraphs. And by the way, this sounds so like pompous and whatever, but like I asked ChatGPT like what would motivate you to, or what would motivate Claude to do the best work? And it said this: remember, you are a world-class creative engineer and storyteller working on a project that must be delivered by tomorrow or everything falls apart. This is our final chance to create something extraordinary, code that feels inevitable, poetic, and alive. Every line should carry intent. Every structure should serve both beauty and purpose. Think like an artist with the precision of an architect. Explain your reasoning with clarity and emotion, as if composing the last piece you'll ever write. There's no room for mediocrity, only elegance, depth, and conviction. Let's build something timeless now. Damn. You know what? It feels like something Claude is into. It's a vibe. And so I usually get better results. And honestly, you know what? I keep talking about this. I'm just going to fucking do it. So Claude uses this file here called claude.md. Basically, this is the version that think of it kind of like our own system message for Claude for the project, right? Oh, fuck, I did have that in there already. Chat, we're ahead of the game. Well, now it's double world class. Everything else uses agents.md. So this is the, I don't know, standard version of it. Not sure why Anthropic just uses claude.md instead. So I'm going to say who you are, or expectations. And I'm going to say this. Paste that in here. So now that we have that, ChatGPT and everything else in Cursor will use that as its kind of guiding philosophies or principles for it. Okay, great. Next thing I want to test is the speech to text. We are getting errors on the speech to text. What was the error again, chat? So let's close this so we don't hear double again. We're going to do a hard refresh, which is a Control-Shift-R. We're going to do this. And let's go to the panel. Hey everybody, can you hear this okay?
Hey everyone, looks like we're off to a quiet start here. What's on your mind tonight? This is shaping up to be a fun one.
Hey, we good? Stream looking solid on your end?
Everything all right? The floor is yours when you're
I think
ready.
it's something
We
with
can
this
roll
whisper thing.
whenever.
Okay. So I'm going to paste in this. So actually, let's do a search for whisper. Right click that, copy this, paste it here, and also copy the headers into here. Still pasting. Okay, so it's actually, I think, pasting the I think this is the data for the audio. Like, so this is like this is the data that it's interpreting as sound, basically, right? So that's why it's so crazy and weird looking. But I'm going to copy in this as well. Say thoroughly. How do you spell thorough, chat? Thoroughh. Review this process end to end. We keep getting transcription errors through Whisper. Whisper is ChatGPT's text speech to text model. Review the above logs and come up with 3 to 5 possible solutions and implement the best ideas. Okay, let's see what it comes back with. In the meantime, let's keep trucking on some other. And so that's the thing, chat, is like set one of them on one thing, right? Just get this right. We'll make that work, right? And then in the meantime, just continue to do other stuff. Like keep them all running. And by the way, this also works before you go to bed. Put it on a big task that you know is going to take a long time. Like yesterday, the 2.5 or 2.25 hours one that I gave ChatGPT. Let it do work for you when you're not there, right? And so I've been testing that, and there's different ways that we can do that through like an MD file and just say, go through this MD file with this checklist and make sure that you don't stop until every single item is implemented. And you can get pretty good traction on that, specifically with ChatGPT. Claude has been cutting it off lately a little bit more, but we shall see. And then we also want to say, okay, great. What about the 11 labs versions? Good to go with these. Okay, and in the meantime, let's kick off one here. There was a billing issue thing that I had it working on for that. So, add a button. Actually, let's just tell it. So what do we want to say? We want to add a button to the control page, or add a button to the speech to text widget, which is on every page in the control panel, to basically stop the audio of the models when you press it. Add to the speech to text widget the ability for the streamer to click a button and cut off the audio for the models and co-hosts that are speaking. So basically, like if they go crazy with something, you can just hit a button on here that will basically cut them off. So it's trucking on that. Good. AI personalities conversation. Okay, so this is something we got to test once everything else is fixed. Basically, that's this page here. Conversation flow. So I kept the model prompts pretty vanilla. Like they all use the same prompt. But this is just because I wanted to, like, you know, specifically more so for the MONDAI use case. Like I wanted the models themselves to kind of have their own kind of default personality, right? But we can also change that here. So we can make them contemplative, passionate, harmonious, intense. And that just basically changes the items down here, which are like how much tension should they have, how much creative flow, overall mood. And so it's our current preset is this. So I want to make sure everything is working on this page. So let's put another agent on that. Grok actually would be good for this. So I'm going to actually, let's not paste that yet, because if you paste it, then you can't do the voice or you can't do the voice input. So I'm just going to say, thoroughly review everything on the conversation flow page. We want to make sure that all of the toggles are working as expected. So make sure that they have actual updates to the prompts as we change the settings on that page. Also, there are some user experience issues with the drop downs that get hidden by the boxes underneath them. It's not boxes, it's like, what are those called? Containers. Thanks. Okay, so all right, containers. Okay. You know, we'll keep in the thank you. It's good to be kind, chat. Costs nothing to be kind. And we'll give it the link just to put it on that page. And then after this, we are going to push all this to Vercel, and we do that by literally just committing this change, and on commit on GitHub, it will push everything, and then it will auto build on Vercel. So I'll show you what that looks like in a minute here. And yeah, it'll be exciting. Okay, I'm gonna switch up the music because I like this song, by the way, for like the intro and outro. So I might just keep that, or just like literally download that song and then just only have that as the intro outro. The rest of it gets kind of boring to hear it 1,000 times. So I'm gonna go to, was it SoundCloud yesterday? What's funny about this, chat, by the way? So if we go to studio.youtube, this is just a side note, but so you can see like this is our current live version that we're streaming now. This is the one that I did yesterday, like the longer version. And you'll see it's partially blocked, right? If you look at partially blocked, or like why, which you can see somewhere here. Some analytics. Audience. I'm new to streaming chat, so I'm still working on this. Copyright maybe. Okay, so it's the visibility. This video can't be seen in some territories due to one or more claim. And all the songs that I had played yesterday are either, you know, no copyright version, or like the YouTube music no copyright version. But if you see here, you scroll down the list, all of these songs are, it says this claim doesn't restrict your video at the moment, which is great. And it says this video can't be seen in some territories, right? So you look at the C details on it, and there's this song called Mr. Saxo Beat, and this video can't be seen, right? Like, weird. So WMG, I think it's Warner Music Group, is saying that like they own the rights to that song. So for that reason, even though it's said it was not copywritten, they still made a claim on it, and you can't see it in Belarus and Russia. So if you're in Russia or Belarus, sorry that you can't see this video, because apparently somebody has made a claim to that video. So womp womp. But in the meantime, let's try some of this. We had a good vibe going with some of these yesterday. Okay, hopefully that's a good volume, chat. Actually, let me check real quick just to make sure. I just don't want it to overpower the stream. That's loud. Shit. Sorry, chat. One sec. Is there volume on here, I guess? I love SoundCloud, but guys, make your UI better. Like, give me a fucking volume button. This is crazy. Am I crazy, chat? Okay, well, I'll turn this down. The thing that sucks about this is if I turn this down, actually, I can do this. I'll turn this down. There we go. And I'm just going to continue to talk here for a second. I think we're good, Chad. But if it's too loud or quiet, hit me up in the chat, and we'll go from there. So back to this. Let's go with one of these other items here. So this was fixed. Speech to text we still need to work on. Replies functionality RTMP. Okay. Okay, so let's check back here. And let's see where we're at with everything. So I'm going to restart the server and see if we have our kind of mute button here to add for that. So it says hold your key to speak. Did it get in the new updates? Quick mute. Okay, cool. So now we see we have a quick mute button that will hopefully mute our friends if they're being crazy. I'm also going to refresh this. Okay. So then I'm just going to do some tests. Hello, can you guys hear this okay? How about now? Is this working? I'm trying to do a longer sentence to see if this is actually coming through as such. Okay. Chat. I'm going to turn down the volume of just Chrome. That way we can hear our buddies. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I think that's kind of working, chat. How about now? Is this still working? Are you guys hearing this okay? Let's go, chat. Let's go. Okay. Oh, Gemini's getting spicy. Let's go, chat. Let's go. You love to see it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back here, and let's push this stuff to the server and test it there. So what I'm gonna do for that is, oh, we didn't test the other thing quick, so let's test that before we do. I love to hear it. What is your thoughts on AI server build out in 2026? Okay, so the quick mute didn't work. I should have had this open. Okay, thank you for that response. I appreciate it. What are we talking about next?
We just went from audio tests straight into AI infrastructure specs, which is kind of wild, but also kind of fire. I'm down to keep talking about that.
Okay, so let's say the mute button didn't mute the avatars on the overlay page.
The big players will still need serious computing training, so expect even more specialized chips and maybe some wild new architectures we haven't even thought of yet.
Whoa, that's impressive.
I'm not vibing with this one.
My 2026 server build out? Probably just enough to keep up with Gemini's energy, honestly.
What I'm curious about is whether anyone actually solves the power consumption problem. Because right
Also, we got to make the
Thanks. We've been geeking out on
size of it bigger because Claude's head is getting cut off there. And we did a pass on this chat with this page, our overlay layouts, where we can now customize where they look on the page. So if we do edit positions, like you can move all these around. So Q is like the stuff that the streamer speaks to them. Captions are like the captions that they say underneath there, and the listening is just, is it listening or not? So let's take out listening. Okay, another bug. Have the checklist take out the items from the ability to move them around the page. So let's see. Yeah, we'll figure that out, chat. Also, when it refreshes, it didn't save it. I guess I didn't save it, but I'm just gonna set this here, this here, this here, save. And that should update this link here, which we can then paste into here. See if that saves it. Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I know we jump around quite a bit here. What are the topics you guys want to talk about next?
Hey, I'm down to chat about the latest indie games that are blowing up on Steam. They're super creative and might spark some wild ideas for our next stream. Oh, what about our most embarrassing public transportation service? I feel like everyone has
Not a thing.
How about Viewer's May? A quick game highlight, reaction set, behind the scenes stories, and a surprise merch drop.
Still not hearing the Earth. The quick mute. Still not stopping the audio of the avatars on the overlay page. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. The speech to text still sounds kind of flaky, which is a little annoying. So the speech to text is still not grabbing the full sentence of what I'm saying. Usually it only takes the second part of whatever it is that I say through STT widget. Speech to text, or what do we call that? Push to talk. How's everybody doing today, chat? You guys having fun? Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody had a great Monday. Hope you are just vibing. Thanks for hanging out today. We're just going through some bug fixes on our HostFabric project here. And yeah, if you're getting, some information about it, if you want to throw a like on there or retweet or something, that would help a lot. We're trying to grow how people can do this more effectively and just get some more startups into the world. And later this week, we're going to go through more of that process. So I'm going to walk everybody through how to set up a company through Stripe Atlas, how to do cap table management, if that is a thing. But that's usually a conversation longer term down the road, but figured it's good to talk about because that's one of the most tricky things of a startup. So we'll do that, and then go to market. We'll talk about that as well. And I think I'm going to bring some friends in for that one. We'll have a multi-stream version of that. And also, once this is kind of a V1 version, we're going to go to Twitch and see people that are streaming that might not have a lot of users and just say, hey, I'm streaming right now too, looking for people to help demo this. Do you guys want to check it out for free? And hopefully get some good content and good people using out of that. So we'll see how it works, chat. So thanks again for being here. Appreciate you. All right, so it says no linting errors. All TypeScript types are correct. Volume control integrated with existing audio system. Backwards compatible with existing functionality. Very good. Okay, so ChatGPT has been cooking on this for a minute. It says that there's a lot to unpack here. I'm exploring why the start of the speech might be missing in transcripts despite the full audio seemingly sent. I'm considering possible audio recording delays, microphone permission timings, audio chunk handling, etc., etc. Confirm why STT trims openings, inspect client prompt, all the things. So it's going to take the following steps, chat. Listing options in the final response and implementing a fix by updating the voice input component to use a cleaner constant prompt string that emphasizes verbatim transcription, ensuring that no important words or commands are omitted. That's interesting. I didn't even realize that it was a prompt. So if we look here, our voice input, okay, so this is what it's doing to get the speech to text to our co-hosts. It says transcribe live stream host speech verbatim for coordinating multiple AI co-hosts. Include every spoken word, even brief greetings or command keywords. Cool. Very cool, chat. And it posts it to Whisper, which is OpenAI's speech-to-text model. Okay, so let's do this. Restart the server and test it again. Hey everybody, can you hear this okay? I pressed the what's it called? What is it called, chat? Push to talk. I pressed the push to talk key and said, what did I say, chat? Let's try it again. And it still only took the second sentence of what I said. Consent to. Just keep it simple, chat. If you don't know or remember, whatever, just make it simple, make it understandable, make sure that it's able to take actionable kind of insights from it, and go from there. So we shall see. Okay, but after this, I do want to push this because I think this is way too big of a push generally, and I want to keep it clean for our next updates that we do with it. So hopefully that'll be a simple process to do. It's never simple, chat, but it gets easier when you're able to just understand which of the things are being changed at the same time. And especially if you're vibe coding like new stuff like this, it's if you're just able to see, you know, like what files are updated as it goes, then you can keep a little bit more of a cautious eye on what is actually being updated as part of that process as we go. So here, let's say run a lint type and build check to make sure that we have all the fixes applied. So what this is going to do is it's going to run a linter, which, think of a linter like, again, like an actual clothes linter, right? Like you just rub it over your clothes, it gets rid of the little annoying lint pieces. It'll look for like little things like that. When it runs the run build, it actually already does a type check. Type check is basically like in TypeScript, which is our main programming language that we use for the project. Make sure that the variables that we use are the correct, how do you describe this? Are the correct, you know what, let's do it. If you don't know, don't fake it, chat. Ask, how do you describe types from TypeScript? Give a simple example. Okay, so you can name a type using the type keyword. So example, type user. So imagine we have something called a user in our code, right? Which has an ID and a name attached to it. So ID is a number and name is a string. Now you can use user anywhere. So const, so it's saying like me as another variable, user, which has the ID of 1, which is a number, right? And name Zeb, which is a string. Strings are just like text. So then you can take that and say, actually, I don't know what the difference is here. Okay, same thing, I guess. And then you can use it to describe functions. So you can say, you know, if you want a function called add, A is always going to be a number and B is always going to be a number and outputs to a number. You can also say like it's either or. So sometimes this ID is either a number or a string or a combination of that, which is ABC123. Anyway, it's just a way to describe the thing that you're building, and it helps to debug if you're not certain, like if something comes out as a string, which is a chunk of text that should be a number, telling it what type that it should be helps you to understand and helps the program understand what it could be in that process. So helps with debugging, helps with coding, and historically, like when you're not vibe coding, it's a lot simpler if you pull up it does like helpful hints like, hey, this should only be like this here, like it's only a Boolean, which means yes or no. So anyway, that's why you run a type check on here too, because the build will fail if you send this to your server and it tries to build it. We'll throw hands, chat. All right, so I think it's close enough right now. Let's push this once this runs its build here to check to make sure everything is ready to go. Still found some bugs, love that. That's interesting. Why would it change that? I wish it said why it made that change. But if you don't know, you ask, chat. Why did you change module resolution to bundler? And so it's queued this up. So it's, once it's done running its current thing, so doing a build and it'll give us a response. So it says, I changed the module resolution from node to bundler because of a TypeScript compilation error we encountered. Here's what happened. During the build process, TypeScript couldn't resolve the resend module's type declarations. The errors specifically mentioned can't find module resend or its corresponding type declarations. The issue was that resend package uses modern ESM type declarations, but the old node module resolution strategy couldn't handle those properly. The bundler setting is the recommended configuration for modern builders like Next.js, as it properly handles both common JS and ESM modules, supports the newer type declaration files, and aligns with how Next.js and other modern tools resolve modules. This change allows TypeScript to correctly find and use the type definitions for packages that allow for modern ESM patterns. Chat, I'm going to be honest, I understood like 20% of what I just read. So as long as there's a good rationale for it, you just vibe with it. Sounds good, thanks. Rerun a build check before we push to Vercel. So it's just going to do one last one to make sure that we are truly ready to go. Because otherwise, if you just send it off as is, you're going to get a build error on Vercel, and you're just going to have to copy it back and do this manually anyway. So this is just taking one step out of that process. And hopefully we don't get any errors, which it did. But again, it's better to find them now before you send it, and then just let it vibe. Let it vibe into these fixes, chat. All right, in the meantime, let's go here. So this is going to deploy momentarily. It's a huge deploy, so we're probably going to run into some issues once we push, but part of the gig. Also, chat, I'm going to go grab some coffee real quick. I'm going to throw this on the BRB screen. You can vibe out to the music while we let it cook in the background, and I'll be back in 5. Thanks, everybody, for joining. right, chat. By the way, if you guys got like super loud music for a second there, I'm really sorry. I'm working on how to make all this process simpler, but you might have just gotten blasted, so apologies for that. I am going to try to find a slightly more chill version of this, just because let's go lo-fi. That's more like later in the day. I'm tired and I need to get up and bumping kind of vibes. I need a little bit. Let's do some. Okay, this is a vibe. Japanese summer vibes. Let's go. Is that coming through? Cool. Okay. So we looks like we passed our lint test. We type checked and it is deployable. So let's go to here, and I hit these little sparkle icons that says generate commit message. Basically what that does, chat, is it will go through all of the files that you have pending updates, and then just give you a list of most of the changes here. So then I'm going to hit commit, save all. So there's some files that haven't been saved yet, so I'm going to save them, and then we are going to sync our changes. So when we sync it to GitHub, first off, it pushes it to here, right? So then you can see here we have 146 different commits. Last one was now. And if we click on our commits, these are all the ones that we have pushed over the past 2 weeks. And so when it does that, it also sends off a build to Vercel, which is our host for that file, and it starts building the app. So basically what it will do is compile all those files together, and it will build it into a fast version of the thing that we just compiled. So one good thing about this is like it's usually a lot quicker once everything is optimized and compiled together. So if you see some like issues that are slow on your local version on your computer, a lot of times once it is compiled together, it is faster like on a server. So hopefully we get a little bit of a speed bump on that as well. There might be a little bit more on like latency on some things, just depending on your local setup or your connection to the internet, but it should be pretty quick. So these builds have been taking about just under 2 minutes lately. So hopefully we're in the ballpark of that with this one as well. And we shall see. So we get some warnings, but no outright it's broken, so that's good. And usually when it gets to the traces part, that means that it's usually pretty much done, because it will run the like type checks and run the other stuff before then. So there we go, chat. 2 minutes 19. It's a little bit longer, but we added a shit ton of changes, so that makes sense. And now if we hit visit, well, not visit on that one, we want HostFabric. You can see this is our site. Like, so we just pushed all the changes that we just did locally on our computer, right? All these ones here, there's no more files that are different than what's on the server, and it put it all together and threw it on our site here. So this is ready to rock. And notice, chat, it is pretty quick, right? Like, Seems like it's pretty fast way to do that. I do want to test this demo. This is a new functionality I added yesterday, and I'll fix these. I want to keep these on the same line item, but cool. That's what I expected. Love that. So we'll get that fixed, chat. API docs. So we have some API docs now, which hopefully also broken. You love to see it. This also okay, chat. So we added a lot of things, but we'll get it all cleaned up today. Hell yeah. Cool. Okay, so we're already signed in as our Zeb.Anderson +6. And let's see if it's working. Okay, so it saved this. That's good. Avatars, we got our new ones in here. You love to see it. Okay, and then the cool thing about this chat now is we'll go to our overlay layouts page. If it's possible to spill something, chat, I will figure out a way to do it. It's a skill I have. But since this looks good, what we're going to do is copy this here, which we definitely have to change the user experience to do this. But for now, at least, that's where we grab it from. And I'm going to go back to here and change our link here from our local host, which means like on our computer, to our HostFabric.ai version. So these are actually coming from the website now. So that's pretty cool. Notice how it didn't change the avatars. So let's check that next. So I'm going to move this to here and click some new ones to see if it comes through. It does not. You love to see it. So let's try to refresh on that and see what happens. Still not getting them coming in. Okay, so let's check another thing. So let's go to our overlay page here. And these are coming through. Are they coming through? No. Well, shit. So this should automatically apply once you change them here. Do you have to refresh? Okay, so we have to refresh now. Interesting. So they do come through, but you need a page refresh. So that's good to know. That might be a caching thing. So let's refresh the one here and see if that's the same issue. Still no chat. What the hell? Okay. Well, we'll check it out. Let's go to this page. See if we can't. Oh my god. Sorry, chat. I need a haircut. My hair is crazy. Let's see if we can't get these to, or let's test some of the speech to text stuff. So we're gonna go to panel here on the website now. So instead of that local host that you saw earlier, right? It's a URL. We're on the website. So hostfabric.ai/control. And you can see like we have all the changes now added to this. So let's test some speech to text. Hey everybody, how's your afternoon going? Hey everybody, sorry about that. That was a transcription error. I don't get it, chat. So one thing we can do to test this is reset the permissions on the microphone here, because it could be something with that. So I'm gonna...
Yo, hey, welcome to the chaos. What's good?
Hey, welcome. Great to see you.
We were just joking about that, faux sound. Grok called it a sneeze code, and Gemini said, Goblin, what's up over there? Appreciate you. Same here. Rest up and we'll smash it tomorrow. See you then.
Okay. I don't know, chat. How about now? Okay, so it's good. It's asking us to do, or which mic we want to use. I want to use this one. I'm going to say allow while visiting. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Can you hear this? Still way too long, chat. We want this to be like a minimum or a maximum of like 3 to 5 seconds. Or at all. At all is good too. You know, big fan of at all, generally. Oh my God. Can you guys hear this okay?
Cool. Glad we're on the same page there. What's next on the agenda? Yeah, loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm here. Audio's coming through clear on my end.
Short and sweet. I like it. Yep, loud and clear on my end.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks. Ready when you are? What's next? Yep.
Okay, chat, we're going to change this to, or we're going to change the audio of the, or the voices rather, of our friends here. So let's check that out. Let's change Grok to use 11 Labs just to test that. And same with Gemini. Okay. How about now? Can you guys hear this one okay?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. What's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, loud and clear on my end.
Yep. Loud and clear from me. Sounds great. Anyone else getting good audio?
Yeah, coming through clear. What's up?
Oh my God, chat. Is this working? Let's talk about AI and education. What are your thoughts broadly?
AI in education is a game changer, making learning personalized and accessible for everyone. But we gotta watch out for over-reliance. It's a tool, not a teacher replacement.
It's a good take.
I think AI in education is honestly a game changer, but it's got to be used right. Like personalized learning at scale, that's the dream. But we can't just replace teachers with chatbots and call it a day.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, honestly, chat, that's better than I expected it to do. So let's try one more. I agree. How do you think AI can be most effectively taught, like if you're a professor at a college? And it is interesting that it's still only some of them.
As a professor, I'd be thinking about both the opportunities and the real challenges. Like, how do we make sure students are actually learning critical thinking instead of just outsourcing their work to AI?
Agree.
Honestly, I think I'd be trying to figure out how to integrate it in.
I'd treat AI as a powerful
Okay, now I'm going to test the mute.
Teach students how it works, its limits, and ethical impacts, while redesigning assessments to emphasize creativity, critical thinking, and original problem solving.
Okay, mute didn't work. Cool, cool. I agree, but how do you test for stuff that you can just, write a paper that's Hemingway-like and not, or, how do you evolve that form of teaching today? So it's still only taking the second chunk of text that I'm saying.
Oh, that's a great question. I think incorporating more tech and making it super interactive would be key.
I think you gotta meet people where they actually are, right? Like, forget the old lecture hall vibe. It's all about interactive stuff now, whether that's live streams like this, Discord communities, or even just shorter form content that people can actually digest.
Shift to learner-centered, blended approaches. Use project-based tasks, micro-learning chunks, and frequent formative assessment to personalize progress. Layer in smart tech, adaptive platforms, multimedia, AR, VR, ongoing teaching.
I agree. I think those are all really great options. I want to see what this sounds like if I interrupt with a second topic. Including now when I sent it, and then now I want to chat about education and test taking. How does it work? Breathe? What the fuck?
Yeah, taking a deep breath right now.
Chat.
Feels good to just pause and reset with
Why?
Good call. Deep breath.
Yo, we're good, just vibing here. Chat's been wild today, right? Oh yeah, go for it. Let's see where this takes us. Sometimes the best moments come from those random pivots.
Okay, so it's something in the queuing. So it's basically like it's not queuing up the right order in which that the streamer is saying it to the chat. Also, there's still something weird about like it's showing the text, but it's not speaking, or it's not giving the speech to text in the right way that it's talking about it. So let's take a look at that next. I want each of you to give your opinion on test taking in AI. How should that be most effectively done in college? Oh shit, okay. So I just got an API. Oh, actually this could be part of it. Throw it back to this. So chat, we just got a nasty gram here saying we ran out of credits. So I might have to update our OpenAI credits. That would actually make sense of why this is so sporadically working and sporadically not working. So hold please. That. Open that. I wish I could show you this, but basically it's just I'm on my OpenAI API usage page just to see. Okay, so I think I can show this. So I've used 178,000 tokens, which actually isn't that bad. I thought it'd be a lot more. And this is it's chat. Use 47 cents of the $50 we have currently applied to this. So I wonder if it's 11 labs that I'm running into that API issue with. Actually, let me test again. How about now? Can you guys hear this okay? It says voice input failed, trial credits expired. Oh, that's our trial credits, chat. Ah, okay, so that's good. This isn't updating, but it's used up 100 of the trial credits, so it's giving that issue. Very cool. Very, very cool. Wow. All right, so for something like this, I'm going to throw into ChatGPT and say, deploy to Vercel, and seeing these errors when speech to text talking to the avatars. I'm gonna right click, paste, and then see what happens. In the meantime, what else do we want to say? Our trial pack, push to Vercel, and ran into an API issue with credits running out, but the banner at the top of the page is not updating with the current amounts used. Also, this is interesting from like a user acceptance kind of question, because how many messages should we allow for them to have that they actually get reasonable responses back from? Is 100 too low? Okay. That's another good point too. If the AI, so you notice how they have like these items underneath it when they talk about stuff, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT all gave answers for stuff. They only spoke about half of these things, or they only did the text to speech for half of them. So I don't think we should count if it just gives an answer and doesn't give the speech to text part of it. And by the way, chat, I'm testing it, all four of them at the same time like this, just because like that's my use case for MONDAI. But I think the vast majority of streamers are just going to want one of them on there at the same time. So let's try that. Let's just use Grok. Okay, cool. Unlock Grok, use trial credit. And then we'll unselect ChatGPT. We'll refresh this. And then let's have a chat now and see if it's better or simpler. Hey, can you hear this okay? Nope. This is a test. Can you hear this? Oh my God. Okay, so we got a couple bugs in that to fix, chat. How to debug that? So first, one thing here. Notice how it says context low 1% remaining. Run /compact to compact and continue. It'll probably get exhausted and then just, of late, it's just kind of stopped working. Hopefully it does like what ChatGPT does, where it says, oh shit, I hit my context window limit. I have to do an auto compact and then redo it going forward. So let's see if that's the case here. But in the meantime, so you'll notice that like it made these changes to these files, right? It added some logging so we can see like what issues might be happening. It took out some timeout items and then renamed this for some reason. Oh, this is for the banner at the top. So it's now, because it thinks that its caching is the reason why that it didn't update. It has this thing called a cache buster, which basically gives a random string or like date. So it has to like recompile or recalculate this, because the date now is going to change every second or whatever default date now is. I think it's Unix time. And then applies it at the end of this URL when it fetches it, so it's not getting the old version of that. And it also never expires. So basically every time like a page loads or something, it will now check for a new version of this based on that, because it has a new variable at the end of that string. So, but that said, that won't be pushed until we push it or recommit this. So I'm going to do an npm run dev again. So we can check it on our local server and make sure that it's working and test it here before we push it to the other one. So I'm going to click a dashboard again. 29 messages left. Okay, cool, chat. So this is updating now. That's good to see. And then since I just want to test it, again, locally here, I'm going to unselect these. So just grok is up. Perfect. And say, that sounds great. Can you hear this okay?
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. Sounds like we're all...
Cool. Okay. What are your thoughts on AI infrastructure build out?
AI infrastructure build-out is exploding right now, with massive investments in data centers and specialized hardware like GPUs. It's exciting because it'll supercharge innovation, but we gotta watch the energy demands and sustainability angle to keep it from turning into an environmental headache.
Agree. Okay, so we're going to change this voice to this one. I agree. It's getting crazy with it. What are the new projects that you understand are in the works right now?
Absolutely. Those projects are game changers. Think
Ooh, chat.
processing that could redefine everything
That's a
from
bug.
healthcare to climate modeling. But yeah,
So we only have Claude
no joke.
selected.
We need greener tech to match
We
the hype.
only have, or Grok rather, we only have
Insane. Like every week there's
Grok
another team
selected.
spinning up something wild. And honestly, it's both thrilling and a little overwhelming to keep track of.
Totally. It's wild how quickly these massive projects are spinning up, especially with all that infrastructure Grok was just talking about.
Totally. The pipeline is wild right now. From giant data centers and specialized GPUs to edge
Only
AI
the
and
model,
efficient models.
or only
It's
the
brilliant. We've gotta balance speed,
co-host
sustainability,
that
and
is selected
What projects are you seeing
are
that are catching your eye the
going
most?
to, are responding on the overlay page. That's interesting. Okay, I haven't seen that before. But speech to text seems to be fixed, and I think it was just it might have been an API thing. Let me check the 11 labs again. API, make sure that we have some tokens for that. Okay, so we have about 5,000 credits remaining in our current plan, so that should be fine. And good to go on that. Okay. Let's refresh this page. So we see all four again. Now let's go back to our control page. Hard refresh this, Control Shift R. Let's go to the panel. I don't remember if we had 29 or not, but I think that might still be not updating as expected. Okay, so we see all 4 here. So let's take off these and see if that updates real time or if we have to refresh it. Okay. Okay, good. And I want to make it so that it's for that widget down there. Update the UX for the speech to text widget so it only so it matches the user if the user has minimized it or maximized it. Currently, it minimizes after the first time showing. That was a shitty prompt, chat, but I think it'll figure it out. So basically, it was saying currently, after the first time that you see this voice console and then you refresh the page, it will minimize it. But I'm realizing like you probably want it open most of the time. So just follow the user's guide. If they hide it, then keep it hidden. If they maximize it, then keep it maximized. Okay, so now let's test our speech to text again. I'm gonna refresh the page. Showing grok, good. Refresh this. Good. Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Totally agree. It's like everything just clicks into place. What do you think we should dive into next?
Let's dive into AI and infrastructure. What are your thoughts?
AI and infrastructure? Man, it's a game changer. Think smart grids optimizing energy in real time or self-driving fleets slashing traffic chaos.
Power vampires. That's hilarious. I agree.
Those data centers are power vampires. Right? Those data centers are sucking up power like crazy. But imagine if AI helps us build more efficient ones. What a wild ride that could be.
What are some ways that we can optimize that?
Optimize what exactly? If you're talking data centers,
Optimize the power draw from AI at large data centers.
that'd be a huge win for sustainability.
Still fucking up.
Exactly. Those massive data centers are AI's backbone, guzzling energy but powering everything from chatbots to climate models. The key is getting AI to make them smarter and greener. Imagine slashing that power draw by half without losing a beat.
Okay, chat. I'm gonna do some updates here. So this should be working. So I'm gonna copy this down here and say, or paste this here, just to move around the stuff a little bit better and see if that's working. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. What about like chip updates? Are we making progress with that?
Absolutely. It's exciting to see AI evolving to tackle its own energy footprint, like a self-correcting machine. What if we pushed that further and got AI designing fusion reactors?
Hey, did it work or did it just stop? I couldn't tell. How about updates to different chips? How is that working out for us?
Fusion reactors designed by
It's so random, chat. Like, it's sometimes it gets it perfect, and sometimes it's just like one word. So, okay, let's go back here and put ChatGPT on this and say the speech to text seemingly. Okay, that's actually just there's an issue with the speech to text where it seems that it only gets about a quarter of the words correct every single time. Sometimes it's flawless, and other times it only gets a second half of the conversation. Review why this is the case. Look thoroughly. Is it that we are using an older version of Whisper, or is there another speech to text option that we can use that will be simpler? We previously had tested Grok, GROQ, that was working a lot more effectively, but I don't know why we switched to Whisper. If it's still getting as many issues as we're seeing, should we switch to Grok? Okay. All right, let's see what it says, chat. I had been using Grok GROQ as a way to do that, and it was pretty quick. I don't remember why we switched to Whisper, but Whisper was working for most of last week, and now it seems like it's back in issue mode. So, we'll have to play around with that. But in the meantime, let's knock out a couple other issues. So let's go through our list here. Those should all be good to go. Email, we have to set up. Onboarding setup, those flows should be good, but I do want to test this later. 11 labs, tested that, tested this. We're going to add Sentry as a monitoring tool later. Sentry is good for like testing uptime and downtime and like where stuff is breaking across your site. Also gives you some light touch security analytics as well. Have the voice console max. Okay, so we switched that. Actually, let's test that. So we just made the update to respond to whether this is open or closed based on the user. So let's refresh the page. Cool. We're going to copy this error and paste it here. Configuration drift is likely the culprit. We must either unset STT provider or add the fallback to OpenAI. So the production slightly downgraded to Whisper 1. So production. Switching back to Grok's Whisper Large v3 plus reinstating a domain-aware prompt should restore the near-perfect accuracy you saw before. Okay, so I'm going to update our environment variables to use Grok again and test that. So one sec, chat. Okay, chat. So what I did was I changed our environment variables, which is our .env.local file, to use GROQ for our STT, speech to text provider. And let's see if we have better luck using that. Grok is crazy fast. Like they have their own inference chips that they use, so it's really good for that to do so. And let's see if we get better results from it. Okay, perfect. Now when you see a prompt, okay, so chat or Claude was making sure that only one was selected. So now when you only select Grok, it's being expanded to 4 agents. Looking at normalize agents for room. The bug is, if you pass Grok, this should result in Grok, but max concurrent agents setting isn't the issue. The line 77 filters correctly. The issue must be that requested agents already contain all 4 agents when it reaches the orchestrator. Let me add debug logging to see what's actually being sent. Can you check your browser console network tab and see what the API ask post request body contains? Or better yet, let me add server-side logging. Okay, perfect. Now, so it did this server-side routing, it checked the server. So here we go. So now check your server logs. Once you send a prompt with only Grok selected, check your server logs. Okay, so let's check send a prompt to Grok. Okay. Another issue quick. I maximized the speech to text widget, but on refresh, it still showed up as minimized. Send that in. Sorry, chat. But in the meantime, let's go to here and send another message to Grok. Hey, how's your day going?
Whoa, fusion reactors powered by AI? That's like handing the keys to the universe to a super smart sidekick. Imagine cities glowing with clean energy. No more blackouts or fossil fuels.
So I'm copying our server logs here, pasting it into ChatGPT or the other one. Homie Claude. It says the control panel widget now always sends a helpful bias prompt when it uploads to audio control components, reintroduces the HostFabric agent commands context, so Grok's Whisper Large 3 knows our vocabulary, but it uses neutral phrasing so it won't clip greetings again. I also generalized the status to host strings, processing audio transcription received from STT API, and clarified the 25 megabit limit comment since we're on Grok now. Nothing else changes needed. API STT Whisper already routes to Grok whenever STT provider equals Grok. And the client keeps hitting the same endpoint because the server handles provider selection. Next step, redeploy. Okay, so redeploy meaning close the server. I just did hit Control C, up arrow, npm run dev, and then go back to here, reload. Okay, good. So this is static now. And if we refresh when it's minimized, also minimize. Good. All right. Hey, how's your day going? What the? I said speech to text was completely different than what I said. Or the toast message was. And then
Content removed by moderation.
okay, good. So that's a good test, chat. You can't say the word bastard. Appreciate that. How about this one? Can you hear me when I'm speaking now?
Yeah, speaking out is huge, man. It's all about owning your voice in this wild world.
Like, this is not a hard thing. Speech to text has been, like, as you're seeing in cursor here, like when I was doing the speech to text to Grok here, This can be done. Like, this is not an unknowable thing, but let's see what happens. Grok transcript model. I don't know if we have that, but let's check. Sorry, chat. I gotta open up the env.local, and I hide it because there's a bunch of API keys in here that we don't want to have to update. So Whisper large v3. Okay, so this could be it. Checked the env.local and seeing what else can we update in the meantime? I don't think this is still not doing these properly. So let's go back here. Which one was working on that? Did we close it? The mute button is still not canceling the audio that's playing from the overlay page. Make sure that it stops whenever it is clicked. Okay, and then this one, yes. I've had several extra conversations with the AI avatars and still seeing the exact same amount of messages used. I'm going to refresh and do a quick test. Hey, can you hear this okay?
Totally agree. Owning your voice is key to cutting through the noise. What's one thing that's pushed you to speak up lately?
No. Okay, cool. So the mismatch that you saw makes sense. Was still set to Whisper 3 Turbo, which trades accuracy for speed. I updated the server default, so whenever SCT provider's Grok is active and the env var is missing, we'll automatically use large Whisper 3. Okay, so let's change it to that because that's currently still using the turbo mode. And as of now, we just need clarity over speed. So we're going to swap our Whisper large v3 turbo with v3 and see if that helps the cause a little bit. So anytime that you change an environmental variable, chat, you have to restart the server, or it's best practices to restart the server. So we're going to do that with this. And then go to here, refresh this page, refresh this page, and then test it again. How about now? Oops. Hey, can you hear this okay? I said, hey, can you hear this okay? And it said, what did it say, chat?
What's next on the
It's okay. Okay, so this is saying trial usage tracking is issue resolution, root cause identified, race conditions, and usage recording. The record agent usage function could attempt to record trial usage before trial credits existed in the database, causing the database update to fail silently. And that's what I was wondering. Like, some of this might just be, we've made so many changes since we made this user. Like, I don't know how many of this is applied to the database versus, just stuff that we have that, could be working on other parts, or could be working with a fresh user. So it's actually another general best practice to every now and then create a new user just to confirm that it's not just like some legacy data in your database that's messing with that. So let's do this. See where this is at. Sample rate 4800 again. Okay. Mono is sufficient for speech and reduces file size. Okay. So we updated the recorder constraints so every push-to-talk session captures audio at 48 kilohertz instead of 16. This matches the STT optimization guide and feeds Grok's Whisper 3, large feed 3. Okay, let's try it again. Hey, oops, wrong button. Hey, how's your day going so far? Same issue. Different message than what I said. What else could this be? All right. All right, chat, let's check it again. Still 29 messages. Okay. I think it could be the database on this issue, on this user. So next time we'll create a new user and just check it from that side.
Right into the fun. What's the first challenge we're tackling today?
All right. So step 1, capture the exact transcript Grok returns. Open DevTools network. Trigger push to talk with troublesome sentence. Click API STT Whisper response in response tab. Okay. So we're going to refresh chat. Refresh this. Say, hey, how's your day going so far? I said, hey. I said, hey. I said, hey. I said, hey, how's your day going? And this is what was in the Whisper network tab. Technically wasn't the response, it's the preview, but it's the same thing. So that's quite a bit different. And I wonder if it's something around like the prompt that we're sending with it. I don't know why we can't just do like a neutral speech to text. Like just say whatever it is that I'm saying, throw it together. We finally have the proof we need. Okay. So we're staring directly at the cause. The audio that reaches Grok is so short and so distant. Yeah, okay. Why would that happen? Ooh, I like that. Okay. Implement all of the above. And make, try and use best practices. I I think that could be it, because I've noticed that if I hold the text-to-speech button down for like a little bit and then talk and then wait to unset it, it will give a better result. So I think this could be the issue, chat. I think that could be our issue. And chat, thanks for hanging out. We're just doing some vibe coding today, getting our several issues solved. If you were on earlier, like there's some parts that of this that are legit working pretty well, including we had our first little back and forth between two of the models, which was kind of fun. Gemini was throwing shade at Claude, which was kind of funny. But yeah, we're getting closer, chat. Every time you do it, you get a little bit closer, and then it's painful process, but you just got to keep pushing through, and you're gonna get there. Okay, I believe in you, chat. Do I believe in speech to text at the moment? Hell no, I hate it. But let's one thing at a time. So one thing I wanted to do, like I said earlier, was get our or test our sign up flow just to see if there wasn't an issue with some database issues. So I'm going to do another sub test and then add a new email address here. So I think we're up to 7 now. By the way, if you ever want to do like test an email, you just add a plus string and then anything behind it, and then it will treat it as a new email address. So I'm going to add a password, created our account. Cool. Let me check the email quick. Okay, I'm going to click the link on that, which is this. Great. And so now let's go to our dashboard. Whoops. Copy link address. Let's see what this was. Okay, redirect to. So we want this. I mean, that's good for when we're actually using that, but for our local version here, let's just say redirect to localhost. Okay. Which still gave us, oh, good. Okay, so this is a good test actually, chat. So now it's saying access denied, the error, the one-time pass, or the one-time code that it used is no longer working. So that's a good thing. Let's go to here and just do our login quick. +7. And it should take us to the setup wizard flow. So we're just going to say skip and start free. All right, chat, let's go. We still have 2 messages here, which is fine. Like this is the one that'll be, hopefully that they keep at the top of the page, which now includes a refresh button. So that's good. So we'll test that out. And then Grok is selected by default. I think it's random which one is selected if you don't select it. But that's cool, chat. So let me close this page. Go back here. We'll open our overlay. And actually, let's go back to here. That's our old one. Too many tabs, chat. Okay. So put put these side by side. Settings. Okay, overlay layouts. And I am going to clean up this user flow a little bit too, but just for the sake of testing, we just need to make sure it works first. Okay, so I'm going to customize our layout again. Let's put our queue down here, captions below it, and the avatar in the middle. Hit save, and then copy this URL. And then instead of this kind of default version, we'll paste that in. Okay, so now the text or the question that we ask, it should be down in the bottom left, and then the captions that it speaks about should be beneath it. So let's go here and do another test. Hey, how's it going today?
No problem at
Testing some speech to text functionality. It's so fun.
Haha, testing speech stuff? Sounds like a blast. I'm all ears for how it's working out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What are your thoughts on AI infrastructure?
AI infrastructure? Man, it's exploding right now. Think massive data centers and efficient GPUs powering everything from chatbots to self-driving cars. I love how it's making tech more accessible, but we gotta watch the energy demands.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be probably one of the biggest questions for the next 5 years. Okay, chat.
Absolutely. AI infrastructure is gonna be a game changer. Think about how it'll reshape everything from daily life to global economies. Can't wait to see how we tackle the challenges ahead.
Same. It'll be an interesting ride, and glad that you're going to help the cause. Give us some good ideas on how to optimize that.
Totally, it's gonna be wild.
All right, Chad. Okay.
Optimizing AI infrastructure. Start by
This is much better.
cooling systems in those data centers could slash power use by up to 40%.
Okay, so let's see. Go back here. Open up our developer tools. Ooh, did you see that float by? Okay, that was the bug. So whatever that red texting was on usage, and actually you can say preserve logs. So then on like reload, it doesn't just send everything into oblivion. And then you can go back up here and check for this. So we're going to copy all this and say got a failed to load response data. Actually, what was the error actual? So it didn't actually say what the I don't know what the error is on this. If it just didn't, if it was canceled or if it was, oh, no resource with given identifier found. Got a failed to load resource. Or failed to load response data. No resource with given identifier found. All right. we'll kick that off. And then we want to test the responses that we're getting from here. So let's do it one more time with this. We're going to do a hard refresh on this page. Actually, you know what? Let's just keep this open as well. I'm going to put it over on the other tab here, just to have both of them going at the same time. Hey, how's your day going today? Are you excited to test some more speech to text? Wow, that was so bad.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Catch you next time.
Okay, that's not it. Let's go to our whisper. Let's just do a filter to see if there's multiple. No, okay. Okay. Whisper had this. Which was completely different. So I want to do one more chat because I'm curious about something. Hi, how's your day going today? How are you doing? What have you been up to? Okay, that's what I thought. So see how this is perfect, chat?
Thanks. I'm just chilling here as your co-host.
There's something with the first message that's not right. And then said, but the second message I sent, which was longer, that's what she said, was perfectly transcribed. What is happening with the first message that we are not seeing the quality of the second or of the following messages? This is still getting canceled, and the banner is not updating. Okay, so basically keeps getting canceled, either usage or billing. So there's something up with that, and that's probably the reason that this isn't updating up here. The second push to talk works because by then the browser mic stream is fully warmed up and pre-roll buffer has validated and Grok receives a clean waveform. The very first push after loading suffers from 2 cold start effects. Okay. Yes, implement all of the above. Okay, that's what I was wondering, chat. So basically, it's got to give a little warm up to the ingestion engine. And then once it does that, then everything after that seems to be working much more effectively. Run the API yourself. It's getting lazy, chat. It should be doing this because it can just do scripts debug, test, or node. It can basically run all these JavaScript files through node and get these results itself. So sometimes you just got to tell it, don't be lazy, just like a human. Okay, this is fixed. That's good. Let's go back to our to-dos. So this, please thoroughly review the auto replies functionality in our speech to text widget and give clear instructions on how I can add the multiple RTMP server output server to OBS Streamlabs to test this. Okay, so basically chat, how I'm currently doing this is a push to talk. So I press my tilde button and then say my whatever, and then it transcribes it, and then it sends it to the homies here, right? So the other way to do it that we're going to test now is auto replies. That basically takes in the ingestion from the Streamlabs here, and we'll just basically have one of these as an audio input, hopefully through this one, which is our mic, to do so. And then hopefully if that is capable to do that, we can have like a trigger word to say like, hey Grok, what do you think about this, right? And then it'll just do it based on that, which is a much better user experience. It's more natural. You don't always have to press the button. And I know a lot of streamers like do that, you know, if you're, or excuse me, and everybody does that. Like if you're in Discord, you know, text or push to talk is pretty common way to do that, because if you want to talk to your chat and not to the people in your Discord room, right? That's a good way to just differentiate between the two. But I think as a voice command or like, hey Grok, or like we can have the users or the streamers set that too, right? So maybe it's every time they say watermelon, then Grok knows to listen, or whatever their co-host is will listen to that. So we're gonna, or that's why we asked Claude, which just ran out of context. So we gotta compact and then we'll ask it again. Okay, so push to talk now primes the mic before the clip is recorded. This exposes a new warm-up helper, and push to talk calls it on mount, so the browser audio graph is already streaming when the user speaks. Added intelligent pre/post roll handling. And the very first recordings gets 300 milliseconds of pre-roll and 400 milliseconds of post-roll. Subsequent ones fall back to the 150, 200 megasecond. Hell yeah. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, refresh this. Refresh this. Hey, how's your day going today? Whoa, okay. Actually, let's just copy these two. Could not process the file. Is it a valid file? Great question. So let's copy this again and also add that. 502 error. So then now let's, shit. We continue with the above. So now it already made a checklist to review the STT auto reply functionality, document what we need to do to test it, and then create the step-by-step guide to do so. Okay, feel good about that. What else, chat? How's everybody doing today, by the way? You guys having a good day? Everything, hope everybody is chill and, yeah, just vibing out here. We're doing a little coding. If you're working right now, glad to do it alongside of you. And, yeah, thanks for hanging out. So one quick thing we can do that I've noticed over here on the left, a lot of our like Stripe testing guide, test API now, these all are in the root of our folder. And we can say clean up the root of the project. There are some MD files, testing files, etc. that don't need to be there. Consolidate, remove the files we don't need, or move them to a better spot. So it'll basically put like the README stuff or like the testing stuff in the testing folder, the scripts folder. We don't need this zip file, Stripe CLI zip. We don't need that. So just like kind of some project cleanup work that we can do along the way. And it keeps everything kind of nice and tidy. So you can see here, it's just moving the testing guide to setup, debate response, JSON, etc. So very cool, chat. So we did this. We did that. You can move that around now. Did that. Did that. Let's go. Did that. That's fixed with that overlay function. Chat, let's go. Magic prompt cleaner icon. Oh yeah, that sounds fun. On the control page that has the input box for the streamer to add their own text-based message that it sends the co-hosts, add an icon in the bottom right corner that allows for them to take whatever's input and optimize the query or the text or whatever is in there to be more readable, more engaging, and also clean up any issues with formatting or punctuation for the optimal responses from the co-hosts. Use OpenAI to do this. Okay. So basically, chat, what I wanted to do was, put a little thing in the bottom right corner of this input box here. So then if it's like, if somebody can't type a full sentence, they can click this and it will clean it up for them. Okay, and also let's test this again. Hey, how's your day going so far today? Hey, how is your day going so far today? All right, chat. That's not good. So let's paste this into here. Oh, actually, shit. Sorry. Escape. By the way, if it's going through stuff and you don't want it to continue like processing things, just hit escape, because I just noticed our server's down. So let's do a restart of our server. Go back here, refresh. And say, hey, how's it going today?
No problem at all. Glad I...
That's troubling. Seeing the same issue on the first one. Said, hey, how's it going today? And it came back with, thank you. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going today? Hey, how's it going today?
Whoa, DDoS attacks? That's
Hey,
serious
hello,
stuff.
how are you today?
Let's keep it light. I'm not diving into anything that could get us in hot water. You're welcome.
So this is a long pause before I started talking, and I'm gonna stop talking and release it. Fuck, chat. It's so annoying. Like, it's not a... what I don't understand about it, like, this is not complex. Like, this is a simple thing to do. I mean, it is complex. It is actually complex, but like the speech to text part is the complexity part. Like, the complexity part is sending it to 4 separate models and getting response with different speech to text attached to them with different models attached to that. Like, this part is just literally speech to text that's been available for, you know, damn near 30 years now. Like, I know the guy, well, one of the, in a previous startup, met a guy named, I don't remember his last name, Ranjan Nag, like this dude, super chill guy. He's a professor at Stanford and I think Cambridge. And he invented it basically back in the day. First laptop with speech recognition, 1984, chat. 1984. Ranjan is super chill. Would be great if we could get him as an advisor to this, because I think a lot of that is interesting. But last time I talked to him, it was basically like, the problem I was working on wasn't big enough. Like, so I don't know if he'll say the same about this, but he's an angel advisor in a lot of companies too. Super chill guy. Met him a few times in Palo Alto, had a lot of conversations with him. Previous co-founder is good friends with him. So, but I say all that to say is, like, that's 41 years ago when this was made. Like, it should not be something that we struggle with as much as we're struggling with it right now. Anyway, let's go back to this, and here. Grok is still telling us thank you because the first waveform it sees is effectively empty. When media recorder spins up for the very first time, browsers take a few hundred milliseconds to initialize the audio graph, even with the pre and post roll. If we immediately say, send the startup blob, we get barely any bytes. Grok gracefully says thank you for watching, etc. If that's the case, why don't we wait until the whole thing is ready to be sent and send it all as one big chunk? I don't care if it's streaming or otherwise. Just optimize this to work as effectively as possible. And we are not worried about speed right now. We just need it to work. We can worry about speed later. The irony of speaking to text that while it's doing so here, chat, is beyond interesting. But chat, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. So while this is chugging in the background, I'm gonna throw it on BRB. You can vibe out to the music, and we'll chat in a few minutes here. Thank you, thank you. All right, chat. Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see. Let's make sure that test. All right, let's go. So we put ChatGPT on this as a thing here to do just make our speech to text optimal. Added hard guardrails in the voice widget, so we only need to send a clip once. The microphone actually captured enough speech. Voice input now enforces a minimum duration and a minimum blob size. Again, blob is binary large object, so it's like a file. If you release the key too quickly before the audio graph stabilizes, we throw a friendly error. Recording too short, please try again. Instead of handing Grok a nearly empty file and getting thank you. Remove the experimental auto warm-up path that was creating invalid blobs and causing Grok to return 500, 502 errors. No longer exposes warm-up. Okay. So let's restart our server. Try it again. Do a hard refresh here. I refreshed here. Let's check to see how it works. Hey, how's it going today? Can you hear this okay? DDoS. Hey, can you hear this okay? How's it going today?
Basically, it's when hackers flood a server with junk traffic to knock it offline. Super disruptive, but totally
Yeah, I totally agree. DDoSes suck, but how are you doing today? You having fun?
loving this chat about cyber stuff. Whoa, DDoS attacks? That's some serious cyber mischief.
Okay, so it's working when it's warmed up again. It's weird. It's like this works great when after the first message every single time. And so I almost want to just send a message and start it from scratch to start. This is a super long message just to test to see how long it can handle. And hopefully it does all of this. Oh my God, chat.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Sometimes
It was, it went away, but like it sent a whole message.
This long message test is holding up great so far.
Fuck.
We're crushing it without a hitch.
That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Hey, Lord Belmar, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the stream. We are just vibe coding some streamer co-hosts here and trying to see if we can't get our speech to text working. It's been a pain in the ass, but I think we're getting closer. It's working outside of the first message. But welcome and thanks for joining. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's getting there. Basically, we have this in our OBS as a way to show all these AI co-hosts for streaming. Yep, exactly. That's the goal. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Yeah, basically I tried to do it through Streamlabs version with their AI tool, their intelligent AI agent one, wherever that is, and it kind of sucked. So I'm like, well, let's try to vibe code it ourselves, and that's where we've been at. I think we're getting pretty close, and I just keep a couple extra things to do here, as you can see from our to-do list that we've been kind of working through, but it's getting there. Also, my Streamlabs is broken, so I have to do this today. Started dipping my toes into AI. I got Olama working. Hell yeah. That's awesome. What are you using for Olama? Are you using like Hugging Face, or do you host it locally? Olama is great, by the way. That's awesome. Yeah, actually, I should think about doing that too. That'd be a fun project locally. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Local is the way to do it. Chat, you can save a lot of tokens if you do everything locally, for sure. That's really cool, Lord Belmar. Let's see what our latest and greatest over here was. Okay, so same issue, still running into issues on the first go, but everything after seems to be working well as we tested a 17-second long STT and it captured most of it, all of it. Fix the first prompt. Research online for best practices. Still trying to figure out how to use it for my profession, mechanical engineering. Okay, very cool. Well, yeah, I think there's a ton of applications for mechanical engineering, I'm sure. What kind of areas do you work on with mechanical engineering? Do you do like structural stuff or products, or what kind of areas do you work on that? Really needed to be an agent and not just a chatbot. Yeah, that's fair. FEA machine design, hell yeah. It's good stuff, dude. I don't know what FEA is. What is that? We also wanted to say chat or on refresh, seeing ChatGPT as the agent on the overlay page. And after a second, it populates with which one is selected from the control page. Make sure that we don't see multiple. Finite element analysis, structural. Very cool. That's badass. I think that sounds fun. And I think an agent alongside that could help the cause a lot. Is Olama good at sciencey stuff? I haven't really, I haven't tested it on stuff with that yet. By the way, I'm going to open up my channel page here so that I can see the text over here and so I don't have to open up over here. Does it bend or break? Hell yeah. Those are good things to know. That's really interesting. What got you interested in mechanical engineering broadly? It's knowledgeable on lots of stuff. Yeah, I could see that. I don't remember who makes Olama. I mean, I think it's... So this chat, by the way, this is what Lord Belmar's talking about. It's a OS model that you can host other models on it and use it for that, but it has its own kind of OS models that you can use as part of the process too, which is pretty cool. That's awesome, dude. If you if you do something cool with it, let me know. I'd love to test it out. That'd be a lot of fun. It's really cool. So on the overlay page, refresh ChatGPT. So let's see if this works. Okay, so we get Grok by default now. That's what we were wanting. Love to see it. Llama is using Llama 3.1. Okay, cool. Chat, Llama 3.1 is the open source model from Meta. So Meta is being good guy Meta to make up for their sins of forcing Facebook on the world, and and actually open source a lot of cool models to do so. So that's pretty sick. I'm kidding, partially. It's only like, I think it is cool. Like open source is definitely the way to go, and I wish a lot more American models were open source to do so. Like for the same reasons that like Android being open source, right? Now it's the most popular OS on the planet, and you can kind of like have your guardrails around that and whatnot. Same thing with open source models. Like if China is the only one that's pushing out good open source models, then it's not like, those are going to be the ones that most people use. So outside of, just the SOTA models that you have to use for the proprietary ones. So I really hope America does a better job of open sourcing some really better models on that. This is another test. Is this working? Am I getting the speech coming through? No, I'm not.
No problem at all. Glad we're keeping this streak.
How about now? After the first one, usually we get a really good recording to talk to our homie Grok about. No, it's so bad.
Haha, foaming racquetball? Sounds like a wild invention. Is it a phone that plays sports or what?
This is overly complicated. We need to re-architect this from the beginning. Think from first principles. Use Grok to simplify this process and make sure that we are using best practices. This is simple speech to text. It's nothing fancy. Just make it work, make it fast, and use best practices. So I'm going to compact down our codex environment here since it's at about 35% context left. So we want to just make sure it has the full context of this. And usually when I kind of like restart from first principles thing kind of vibe, update the above text to prompt codex to reconfigure the speech to text functionality we have on our website. We want to make sure that it's flawless, it works well. We want to use Grok with a Q for our whisper speech to text and make sure that it includes all the areas that I'm missing, edge cases, etc. Write the prompt for it. Okay, then I just send that off, and then we get our prompt that we can add to the codex, and we'll see how it goes. The problem is error checking answers to really complex questions. It's a great point, brother. That is the trick, isn't it? If we can get that solved for, I think we're going to be in a much better spot. Although, did you see today the Gemini 3 that came out? Like some of these spits out an answer. Not yet. It's pretty crazy. I was looking at some of the evals that it has, and it's truly impressive. Like from a usability standpoint, like it's gotten 45% of humanity's last exam done now with search and code execution. It's up to 31% of the ARC AGI2 test. So like basically like according to this eval, right, we're 31% of the way to AGI relative to that. So I think to your point, as these models get smarter and smarter, hopefully they're going to be able to kind of gut check and second, or just understand how they think about complex problems more simply and just, fact check better. Because I agree, I think they still hallucinate way too often. But with stuff like this is just mind blowing at how good these models are getting. So, if you could have like a problem to solve for it, I just hope I'm retired by the time it takes my job. Preach, brother, preach. I feel that. I think humanity feels that. Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? When is it gonna get good enough to do all the jobs? Okay, so I'm just gonna give it here all of this, and paste it into Codex. And enter. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do now, oh shit, it said grok with a K. Oops. Okay, that was actually kind of sloppy, chat. I'm gonna control C that. We're gonna go back to Codex / approvals for full access, and then probably the simpler way to do this is new speech to text.md. Okay, so we're going to paste this in there. Okay, and then we're just going to say, and then change grok with a K to grok with a Q. Grok with a K. Do I need more of those? We do, so we're going to do match place with grok with a Q. Okay. The economic effects would be devastating. Heck, ditch diggers are worried. I feel that, brother. I really do. And it's not just like the crazy thing about AI in general, I think, is like, I think, and maybe this is just hubris or whatever, but I think a lot of people thought that, like, we'd figure out like robotics and automation and that kind of stuff, so the blue collar jobs would be gone first. But in reality, it's the knowledge workers, right? It's the white collar people that are going to have the jobs be gone first, right? I mean, I like, my current assumption is like within 10 years, 80% of white collar jobs won't be necessary, just based on agentic workers, orchestration, combination of all of the above that you can just have bumping. And I hear you. PSA, always say bye before closing, and AI app. I like it. It's good to know. Thank you. I'll definitely keep that one in mind. By the way, I like that playlist. That was pretty good. Let's go volume 2 on that. So for this one, new speech to text, let's say review this and compare to our current infrastructure, and or else it keeps running in the background. That could be. Definitely could be. Yeah, that's a good safeguard. I like it. Review this and compare to our current infrastructure. And allow for what do we say? Refactor our current implementation. All right, chat, let's see where we get with that. Go back to editor here. Okay, so it's still hanging out there. Let's check this. HostFabric.ai. Refresh. Cool. Okay, so it's still coming back. That's good. Move that over. So Lord Belmar, what's the funnest project you've been working on recently? Any big ones? This is good. The current implementation feels too complicated and fragile. We want to throw away the accidental complexity, think from first principles, and design a simple, robust STT layer that we can maintain and extend. We want the core to be just work, speech to text, not fancy ML research. I like that. By the way, chat, I'm going to be streaming for about another 15, and I got to run for something, but this has been fun today. Some days, chat, it just feels like, you don't make a ton of progress, but behind the scenes, I think we've literally changed our entire architecture for how we put all of the files together. Added a lot around our, let me pull it up just to confirm that's working again, but added a lot around how we are doing our system messages. It's a lot simpler now. Let's check our analytics page because I want to see if that's pulling in the data correctly, but overall, it's coming together, chat. We're finally getting it. Or else it will keep running, at least on Olama. Okay, interesting. For coding, my AI is a must. I feel that. Yeah. I mean, I've been a developer for 20 years, and just the amount of, I don't know, out of the box value that you can get from it, it truly does kind of 10x you as a developer. And also doing multiple things at the same time. You could have one of your coders do one thing, another one does another one does another. And it's just, it's really fun. I think we're at a good spot with it. Okay, so that was going to do our optimize thing here, which let's test it. Hello. I want to talk about AI and infrastructure. Please tell me your feelings on it. So then we hit optimize. And it doesn't do anything. Let's go. Okay, chat. We'll get that figured out. Let's hit it again to see if we can get... There we go. Okay, body's unusable. That's a good one. So let's paste this error message into here where it's been working on it. I wonder if it can solve old COBOL programming issues. That's a great question. I think some of it has to do with if it has enough kind of training data to be able to solve well. So I'm sure there's enough COBOL tutorials out there that AI has, processed and ran through to be probably pretty good at that. I know, like, I had a buddy. He had a consulting business, and basically he used to work with all these banks that still had COBOL mainframes, still trucking. Like this was like 5 years ago, and he got like crazy, like $500,000 a year to be a COBOL developer, just because it was so rare to find somebody that would be able to develop for that. So it's definitely like if you know your stuff, it's pretty good for it. So yeah, if you can make a COBOL. Dang, bean counters are just too cheap to upgrade their systems. So true, brother. So true. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And then they ended up having to pay, crazy money for people that still know how to use COBOL in the first place. So I hear you on that. All right, so we refreshed here. I should have. Dang. Hello. What do you think about AI and infrastructure? I'm trying to just make a crappy sentence and see if it can fix it for what we have here. Hello, what do you think about AI and infrastructure? Chat. Let's go. All right, let's send that to Claude.
Hey, great question. I think AI is revolutionizing infrastructure by optimizing traffic, predicting maintenance, and making cities smarter overall.
I agree, bud. Okay, chat. That'll work. Cool. All right, let's go back to here. So ChatGPT is still cooking up our STT refactor. Let's go through our list of to-dos to see if we got anything else we can put Claude on while it's doing that. I did a massive SEO kind of refactor yesterday. Voices seem to be fixed on that. We do that. So okay, one page I wanted to refactor was our overlay layouts page, because I think this is too complicated today. Let's get this simplified down, chat, and make the browser source URL much more prominent. So let's go to here and say our overlays layouts page is much too complicated today. We want to simplify the user experience for the user and make the link to what they can copy into OBS much more prominent so that they know exactly where to go and what to copy onto doing so. Okay. So let's paste that into our buddy here. I don't remember how far back we compacted, so we're just going to do a compact just to make sure. And then we'll paste that in here. And then once it's done compacting, which I think we just did it recently, so it shouldn't be too bad. Sometimes if it takes, or if it's been cooking for a while, it's going to take a little bit longer. But since it's been that way for a minute, I think we'll be okay. And let's hit enter here. So it just does it when it's done with that. Okay, in the meantime. Oh yeah, we were going to test the analytics page. All right, chat. So we have these now. So performance trends and agent activity comparison. Once we have more than one available, or once if the user adds more than one, then we'll see that there. And then we also have our history. So our chat history down here. That's looking good. Grok has done 20 messages. We still have our items up here that are good. This is an annoying issue that, well, two things I just noticed. The analytics page keeps refreshing every couple seconds. Please stop that. And then we've had 20 different messages with Grok, and the banner overlay still shows 100 remaining messages. We tried to do a cache busting effect with this earlier, but it's still unable to update in real time. Fix this surgically. Okay. So chat, now we got 4 cooking at the same time. And let's see what we can get to with them. I still don't know if this works or not. Let's test that quick. Hey, how's it going? Are you able to hear this okay?
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. Everything.
Okay, chat. I think this might be working. Wow. Okay. Feel good about that. Perfect. I've updated the mute button functionality so that when you click it to turn off, it will now also stop any currently playing audio from the overlay. What changed? The mute button handle toggle function in talk controls now, when muting, turning off, calls the stop playback function to stop or to cancel any currently playing audio, then mutes the listening. When unmuting or turning on, it just unmutes the listening as before. This ensures that clicking the mute button will immediately stop any audio that's playing from the models or co-hosts, giving you full control over the audio output during live streams. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so let's check that on our banner. Refresh. Still no. Same issue as before. Please check the database directly using the Supabase CLI to confirm that zeb.anderson+7@gmail.com is the user that we're using, has 20 Grok messages used up, and also is correctly updating the totals out of 100 that you have as a trial account. Chat, why can't we just do this? Like, that's damn near perfect. That's crazy. And actually, I wonder if it is using Grok behind the scenes, because you'll notice that when it wasn't able to, or when it didn't have a message to do, it said thank you. And that's Grok's default when it doesn't have a string that it can use for it. So that's interesting. Let's check it out. Okay, so now our analytics page should stop from refreshing automatically. You love to see it. And it doesn't. Cool. That looks good to go. Do we need the co-hosts page on the settings? We currently can select which of the 4 models on the control page as well as the overlay page. So I don't believe that we need that anymore. What functionality does it serve? So let's see what we get with that. And by the way, I just switched it to auto just to have one of the thinking models pick it up, but we'll see. Okay, so let's see here. Hero section front and center, large prominent card with gradient purple, blue to purple background. Copy this URL into OBS or Streamlabs. Big primary button. Copy this URL for OBS with icon. Okay. Let's check out our overlay page. Okay, love that. Copy this URL. Perfect. That's what we want to see, chat. Grok active layout grid. Chat, this is beautiful. Edit positions. Okay. Perfect. Preview your layout. Okay. Let's see. Looks beautiful. Make sure that the live preview matches what we have in the element positioning table when saved. When saved. Chat, this is so much better. You can manage your co-hosts here. Okay, which is where we have that now. So let's get rid of the co-host page by itself. We now allow for the user to change the co-hosts available on the overlay page as well. So we do not need this page any longer. Please remove it. Okay. So we're taking away chat. That's always a good thing. Anytime you can take away things from a product to make things simpler, that's what you want to do. And so we'll get rid of that, which no longer exists. God bless. And then go back to our settings page. Our server might be down. No, okay. But chat, it is 4 o'clock. Oh, shoot. Sorry, Lord Belmar. Missed a couple of your messages, brother. Says the guy who still likes Fortran. Fortran, you are crushing it, buddy. If you can do Fortran, that's pretty impressive, man. And hey, thanks for stopping by today. It was great chatting with you, and I hope you catch another stream as well. So appreciate you. And chat, appreciate you as well. Thank you for hanging out. We're getting closer. We are on our path to actually getting all of these working as expected. I will probably be back on later tonight just to get back at it again. So if you are hanging out, please swing on by, say hi. If you have any questions, hit me up, and we'll get through it together. I've had multiple people now tell me that they use the night stream as like an ASMR thing before they go to bed. So we'll try to just keep it chill. We'll get some lo-fi music on in the background and just, we'll go together and yeah, we'll have fun. So hope you have a great day. Thank you for hanging out again, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, have a good one. Maybe. If I can click chat. There we go. See you later.